Hi there, this is Tata, and welcome to the Wrestling Time Post Show. It is Wednesday, April 12th, 2023, which means tonight I will be talking about AEW Dynamite. Now, before I start the show review, let's talk about the big return that happened tonight. Jeff Hardy making his return tonight. So what ended up happening was Ethan Page was in the ring. He was talking about how Matt Hardy cracked him over the head with the FTW title, how Hook beat him for the FTW title, and he wants answers and demands to know why Matt Hardy hit him with the title. So if you guys remember, Matt Hardy cost All Ego Ethan Page the FTW title. Isaiah Cassidy and Matt Hardy come out and say that Ethan Page played himself. Matt Hardy tells Ethan Page that he should read the fine print on contracts and that he treated Matt Hardy and Private Party like trash. Matt Hardy says that the fine print on the contract said that if Hook defeated Ethan Page, then they would no longer work for Ethan Page. And when they win the match, Matt Hardy and Private Party would no longer be under contract with Ethan Page. Ethan Page reminds Matt Hardy that there's more people in the firm besides himself and Stokely Hathaway. So Big Bill and Lee Moriarty come out and attack Isaiah Cassidy and Matt Hardy. Hook comes out to try to even the odds, but that's not enough. So who comes back? Who makes their grand return? Jeff Hardy returns, and he's holding a steel chair. He does this one-time bomb to Lee Moriarty, and it's all epic. Wow, what a moment. I remember the first time Jeff Hardy debuted it, the same thing was happening. Matt Hardy was getting attacked, and he did his usual dance, and this time he didn't do that. He just went straight to the ring with the steel chair, and he saved his brother. So it's good to see the Hardy boys together again. This is not how I thought the storyline was gonna go. I honestly thought that it was gonna lead to Matt Hardy versus Ethan Page, and if Matt Hardy won, then he and Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn would be freed from Ethan Page. But this works too. So overall, that was a good segment. I liked it. I can't complain about that. So now let's start this review from the beginning. All right, so tonight's Dynamite kicked off with Darby Allin versus Swerve Strickland, and this was a good match. I really like when Darby Allin did that reverse hurricanrana off the apron to the floor to Swerve Strickland. Darby Allin not only bit Swerve Strickland's head, but he also bit his foot, and the people were chanting, "You sick fuck." Yeah, I mean, homeboy bit Swerve Strickland's foot. Jungle Boy was watching this match from the back, and so was Sammy Guevara and Ty Mello. Now, during this match, of course, Prince Nana and Brian Cage come out to try to provide assistance to Swerve Strickland. And actually, Prince Nana put Swerve Strickland's foot on the rope, while Brian Cage caused a distraction. Now, this was not enough to allow Swerve Strickland to win the match. Audrey Edwards ejected Prince Nana and Brian Cage from the ringside. And while this is happening, Swerve Strickland attempts to hit Darby Allin with the steel chair, but he is unable to. And Darby Allin hits the code word to Swerve Strickland. And at the end, he hits the Last Supper to Swerve Strickland, which is twice now that Darby Allin has beaten Swerve Strickland with that finisher. And so Darby Allin is victorious. And it's a good way to open AEW Dynamite. Alrighty, so then afterwards, MJF comes out. And this leads into a promo by MJF. So he says that he will give Darby credit where credit is due. And that Darby Allin had an incredible match, especially since Daddy Sting wasn't out there. And he says at Full Gear 2021, he's not afraid to admit that he and Darby Allin, had one of the greatest matches in history. And that maybe Darby Allin is one of the best people he stood across from. And so you guys know how MJF says, "My name is Maxwell Jacob Freeman and I'm better than you." So the people were saying that alongside him. And he said that he was sick and tired of people doing his catchphrase. So MJF mentions that a headlock takeover is what he used on Darby Allin, such a simple maneuver. He goes on to say that Darby Allin is not on the level of the devil. And then Darby Allin asks MJF if he's happy. He says that when they met 6 years ago, wrestling in front of 30 people, he asked him if he's happy. Darby Allin says that he refused to be the guy that was happy on the outside and dead on the inside. He tells MJF to go to therapy and that the money he got from AEW he used to buy a house for his parents and helped his dad retire. He's not like MJF. He isn't going to lower his morals to be someone in this world. And the crowd just starts chanting for Darby. MJF says that Darby Allin is an arrogant little boy. And he's so sick and tired of him, Jungle Boy, and Sammy whining about his morals. He thinks that Darby Allin is a gutless coward because he doesn't have the balls to sacrifice what needs to be sacrificed. MJF says that he is aware that he might end up on his deathbed alone or that he might not go to heaven. But that's the difference between him and the rest of the pillars. So referring to Sammy Guevara, Jungle Boy Jack Perry, and of course Darby Allin. He says that he's willing to do whatever it takes, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to leave a legacy in this business, and it will be MJF is the greatest of all time. And he goes on to say that Darby Allin's legacy will be Darby Allin, Sting's bitch. And so then Sting comes out, and he wants to know what this whole talk is about, daddy daycare. And he says that MJF has offended him because he doesn't see himself as a daycare kind of guy. He sees himself more as a cheerleader. And he throws pom-poms at MJF, which I thought was so hilarious. And he says that he looked like he offended MJF and deeply. And he name drops Cody Rhodes. And he does this funny gesture where he realizes that error. But he says Cody Rhodes again. And he goes on to say that MJF had a cheerleader and a support system in Cody. And he mentions it for Sting, had a support system in Ric Flair, Slick Rick. And then he goes on to mention Crow Sting. He mentions how he loves Kevin and how he loves Scott. And he still has a little joker inside of him. What he doesn't have is a hunger for the world title. And the showtime is almost over. So this to me kind of tells me that he's nearing retirement. And I absolutely love the fact that he name dropped all these people. And that he made reference to his Joker Sting during his time in TNA. I know some people probably don't like Joker Sting. So I'm so surprised he mentioned that. He goes on to say, but Showtime is just starting for Darby Allin, and says that Darby Allin will become AEW World Champion. Darby goes on to say that this world isn't taking him and will end the reign of terror and take the title from him, and then MJF slaps Darby Allin. So overall, this was a really cool promo segment with MJF, Darby Allin, and Sting. I was not expecting Sting to come out. And he did cut a good promo. And the fact that he name dropped all those people, I thought that was pretty cool. I was not expecting him to name drop everybody. And I thought it was so hilarious when he corrected himself when he said Cody. Okay, so then we get the TNT Championship matches. Powerhouse Hobbs versus Elias Young. This is basically a squash match. There's nothing more to say or talk about. What we need to talk about what happened afterwards, which, of course, Powerhouse Hobbs won this. And at the end, before the match started, it showed when Powerhouse Hobbs arrived in a car. And so Wardlow destroyed the car that Powerhouse Hobbs came in with, I think like a hammer or something. And then he used a forklift. Then Wardlow came out. He went after Hobbs. Wrestlers attempted to break up Hobbs and Wardlow. And Wardlow put Aaron Stallone through a table. So clearly the feud between Wardlow and Powerhouse Hobbs is not completed yet. It seems like they were building towards a rematch, which we are getting next week on Dynamite. So I'm assuming Hobbs is probably going to win here, but who knows? They might just pull a fast one on us and give the title back to Wardlow. We get a quick video promo with the Bullet Club in the form of Jay White and Juice Robinson, and they play like a video package, and during the video package you see Cody when he still had black hair, and you see AJ Styles, which I thought was really interesting. And Jay White basically says that this is going to be the greatest era of Bullet Club ever, and they're taking over AEW because this is Bullet Club Gold. So it seems like Jay White is starting his own version of the Bullet Club, and he's gonna call it Bullet Club Gold, so BCG. Very interesting to see who joins this version of the Bullet Club, especially because, well, I don't know how many people watch Impact Wrestling here, but I know that over in Impact, Jay White himself recruited Chris Bay to join Bullet Club. So I'm very curious to see who Jay White would recruit to join this version of the Bullet Club. Who do you guys think Jay White would recruit in AEW? Let me know in the comment section down below. Then we get the AEW International Championship match. It's Buddy Matthews versus Orange Cassidy. This was actually a really good match. I enjoyed this match. Now, I have to say, it seemed like Orange Cassidy hurt his hand after he did the orange punch to Buddy Matthews, because he kept he took off the wrist tape, and then the officials were looking at his hand. So I don't know. I haven't read anything yet if he's injured his hand, but it looked like he did. He took a knee to the face. He got a knee to the face on the ring apron too. There were multiple knee to the faces here, okay, people? But my favorite sequence or favorite spot in this match is the 3 DDTs that Orange Cassidy did to Buddy Matthews. The first one was off the top rope. The second one was on the floor. And the third and final one was a diving DDT to Buddy Matthews in the ring. I got to give AEW props here for making me believe that Buddy Matthews actually was going to win this match. There was this one spot where Buddy Matthews hit Orange Cassidy with another knee to the face, and like Orange Cassidy was just laying there, but he was playing possum. And he hit him with the stomp. So I really thought that it was over there, but it wasn't. Orange Cassidy successfully retained his international title. And then it goes to the back, and like he's got an ice pack on his hand, so maybe he didn't injure it. But basically, it's a segment with the best friends, and Trent Beretta says that, you know, maybe they're a little jealous because Orange Cassidy has gold. And so Chuck Taylor challenges Aussie Open for the IWGP tag titles on Rampage. And then after this is when we get the Ethan Page in-ring promo segment, which I talked about at the beginning. So I'm just going to go ahead and skip to the next part, which was a Kenny Omega video promo. He basically wants to thank AEW for giving him this time. He says he speaks to the Young Bucks every day. They promise each other that they will take care of the BCC in the ring. He talks about how when the BCC hurt Don and they let them lie in his own blood, he took that personally. He says that Don is family, and when you mess with someone's family, it's not blood for blood because that's music to BCC's ears. He says when he sees BCC again, he will do something far worse to them. So after this, we get Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli versus Brandon Cutler and Michael Nakazawa, who they give it their all to try to beat BCC, but it doesn't work out for them. Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli attack Michael Nakazawa and Brandon Cutler before the match even starts. Michael Nakazawa gets busted open. Brandon Cutler gets busted open. You got Jon Moxley hitting Brandon Cutler with the Death Rider, and which is followed up with the Bulldog Choke. So this match doesn't even finish. Like, the referee stops it because you got Jon Moxley doing stomps to the face of Brandon Cutler. You got Claudio Castagnoli hitting Michael Nakazawa with the hammer anvil elbows. Afterwards, Jon Moxley grabs a microphone. He starts asking, where's Hangman? Where are the Bucks? Where are Don Callis? He says that they're in the hospital and that they're not elite, that the BCC puts the elite in all elite wrestling. So then Kenny Omega comes out, and he's just standing there. And you can tell the BCC is ready for Omega. And then the Bucks, unbeknownst to them, are behind BCC. And so they super kick Wheeler Yuta and Claudio. They hit the BTE trigger to Jon Moxley, and then the Bucks stop Omega from hitting Moxley with that big case that he had, and instead Matt Jackson hands Kenny Omega a screwdriver. Unfortunately, BCC saved Jon Moxley from Kenny Omega, so Kenny Omega was not able to hit Jon Moxley in the face with that screwdriver like he did to Hangman Adam Page. This is going to be an intense rivalry, honestly. Somebody's going to go down at Double or Nothing. I saw someone on Twitter suggest Anarchy in the Arena, so I'd be all for that, honestly. We get a quick Strickland backstage interview, and he's basically saying that Darby Allin is a testament to his legacy. After this, we get Riho and Sky Blue versus Ruby Soho and Toni Storm. Toni Storm and Ruby Soho immediately go after Sky Blue and Riho. There's a double drop kick to Ruby Soho by Sky Blue and Riho. And then there's a hip attack to Sky Blue by Toni Storm, which followed up with the Storm Zero. And of course, Ruby Soho and Sky Blue are victorious. Afterwards, you get a post-match assault on Riho. She gets spray canned and a triple powerbomb by the Outcast. Then Jamie Hayter comes out. She gets attacked too. And finally, Britt Baker comes out and she saves Jamie Hayter. So I have to say, something's got to give with this storyline. We keep getting a combination of the same thing happening every single week. You got the Outcast facing, Sky Blue, or the Outcast facing Riho. You got, after the match, they get spray painted. Jamie Hayter and Britt come out. I know next week it's going to be Ruby Soho and Toni Storm versus Britt Baker, DMD, and Jamie Hayter. But we got to get to the next level. This has to be building to Blood and Guts, right? The Originals versus the Outcast. If that's not leading to, then what is the point of this? If it doesn't happen at Double or Nothing, it should happen maybe a week or like the week right after. But I don't see a reason for Blood and Guts not to happen at Double or Nothing. We got to get to the next part of the story. So the main event was Keith Lee versus Chris Jericho. This was a first-time match, and honestly, it was a really fun match. I mean, Keith Lee was tossing Chris Jericho around like a rag doll. Chris Jericho looked so surprised by that fact. I mean, Daniel Garcia did his best to try to help Chris Jericho here. I mean, he grabbed Keith Lee's boot. That wasn't enough. He caused a distraction. That wasn't enough. I mean, this was to help Jericho get the advantage here, but that didn't work. Chris Jericho even gouged Keith Lee's eyes, and he put Keith Lee in the walls of Jericho. That wasn't enough. Garcia even took a back elbow for causing a distraction. Was not enough for Chris Jericho to beat Keith Lee. We got a double lariat to Chris Jericho and Daniel Garcia, a power bomb to Chris Jericho. Then Daniel Garcia distracts the referee, and Swerve Strickland, wearing a mask, comes out and hits Keith Lee. And this finally allows Chris Jericho to beat Keith Lee. And then Adam Cole Baby comes out and he checks on Keith Lee. He doesn't look at Jericho. He kind of just looks over his shoulder, kind of like how Jericho did last week. And that is how Dynamite goes off the air. Overall, I thought it was a great show. I enjoyed the show. Only minor complaint is with the women's storyline. I feel like, we got to move to the next part of the storyline already here. And we had Jeff Hardy return, so that was great. Good match between Orange Cassidy and Buddy Matthews. So I would give tonight's Dynamite a 9.5 out of 10. Overall, great show. But with that being said, you guys, thank you guys all so much for watching and for the continuous support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever I go live or release a new video. And I hope to see you guys live either after SmackDown or after Rampage. It seems like, based on the schedule, they said the Rampage would air after the playoffs. So, depending on the time, I'll either cover both SmackDown and Rampage or probably just SmackDown. So, see you guys on Friday. Bye.